Senator Akpabio must apologize to Nigerians.
And then reassess ourselves. And then you also need to bring all the former husbands. At least bring 4 of them that she had married in the past to this studio. So that you ask them questions one after the other. Because it looks like a character problem.
Honestly speaking, what kind of embarrassment is this? What kind of embarrassment is this? You know, saying in Nigeria now, they say they go accuse you of corruption, they go accuse you of sexual harassment. You go leave what you supposed to, talk. You are talking about the person's personal life. You should go and bring the person's first husband, the second husband, the third husband, the fourth husband to judge with you for what? What do you want them to judge? What does this person's personal life got to do with you? This person is even talking about, that was the former NDDC manager. He had the same issue he's having with Senator Akpabio. The same issue. Now they have let what they're supposed to talk about now. They were talking about Senator Akpabio had 6 husbands. Is that the allegation on ground? This is really very disgraceful. Somebody at that caliber, that they talk about sexual harassment. When we say you see women, they fly everywhere. Why will you go after these people? I mean, they are just someone you know that is married. I just pity his wife. Do you know why I pity his wife? Because he knows that that is the kind of husband she has. That is the reason why they never talk matter like this. She don't jump go court just to you want to learn Nigerians. Well, guys, let's watch this video. I will be right back.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for joining us. We will come to those issues in the course of the show, but let's start from a very good place, from the beginning. You've been governor and, 2-term governor, and you're presently the Minister for Niger Delta Affairs, having been senator in the 8th Assembly, just like I cited earlier. Now, what's the Niger Delta of your dream? Because so much has been put in place in terms of funding, in terms of interventionist agencies and all of that. And it seems the Niger Delta continues to be a basket case. What exactly are the challenges? And first off, what is the Niger Delta of your dream?
Well, let me thank Rice Television, and at the same time, not to show my displeasure, but to say that it is important that we undertake investigative journalism. It's not every news that we must air. I'm just seeing that of Caroline Nabo, where my sister Joy Nunieh was on television yesterday. It was full of diatribes and things that were unprintable. And then that lady also is a member of the Interim Management Committee of NDDC, and she also gave an interview, but it wasn't aired yesterday. So the other one went viral because good news flies very far, but good news does not go far and does not even sell. It's only bad news that sells. So Arise is such an international setup and such a beautiful television studio that our channel that you must investigate most of your of the contents that come before you. So
absolutely, and that is why we have given you the opportunity to be here tonight to respond to these rather weighty allegations.
Initially, I wasn't going to come because I don't see those allegations as weighty. I see it as a ranting of a disgruntled former MD who does not know that offices come and go. The Niger Delta of my dream, which is what you asked me,
yes,
will be the Niger Delta that Akpabio said experienced between 2007 and 2015. A region of solid infrastructure. A region where when you want to build a 5-star infrastructure, you go with 5-star construction companies. A region that could turn around a locality like my state capital, Uyo, from being a local government headquarters into a metropolis with flyovers, with international stadium, with international airport, with fantastic government houses, deputy governor's offices, ICT compliant offices and all that. An area where students are made to go to school free, from primary school to secondary school, and are provided with the enabling environment, thousands of classroom blocks constructed, house girl, house boy syndrome brought to an end under 8 years, and then a region where there was no pothole in the state capital, for instance, and then of course every locality felt the impact of government with serious empowerment to the people, such that at the end of the day, we were applauded worldwide, and we broke the Guinness Book of World Records by assembling the largest choral singers in the world to sing to the glory of God. And 59 countries watch us every year. Go to Guinness Book of World Records today, you will see that. That is the region I would like to see, where you do a road, and 13 years after I left office, there is no single pothole on any of those roads. I was very displeased with what was going on in the Niger Delta Development Commission as a governor. So much so that there is a road between Eket and Ibron. Ibron is where the headquarters, or the operational headquarters of ExxonMobil is, that produces so much oil for Nigeria. After 11 years of meddling on that road, I had to take over the road from the NDDC. And in partnership with Mobil, we started that road. Today, if you go there, you'll see 4 completed bridges with dualized thoroughfare, no single pothole. And that, the NDDC could not even do 1 lane in 11 years. I was dissatisfied with a situation where NDDC will come into my state and do 2 or 3 kilometers of road. The first rainy season will wash off the road.
Was your intervention at that point, was it as a senator or was it as a governor?
As a governor. I was a governor. It doesn't matter what level.
Okay,
what I always tell you is that wherever you find yourself, wherever God gives you, even where you are, leave the place better than you met it.
Absolutely.
But unfortunately, in Niger Delta, in the NDDC that was set up to ameliorate the sufferings of the people, 19 years after, you cannot see 10 kilometers of dualized road done by NDDC. Show me one signature project of NDDC in 19 years, and I will show you 30 signature projects of Godswill Akpabio in 8 years of governorship in Akwa Ibom State. So when I hear people talking, I don't know whether they are describing the same Godswill Akpabio. For the young woman that was speaking, Joy Nunieh, I'm not supposed to join issues with her because I'm a minister of the Federal Republic. And by the way, I was the minority leader of the 8th Senate. By choice, I did what they call uncommon defection to join a man of incorruptible character, President Muhammadu Buhari. And of course, I joined him in an earthquake form. And he won the election with landslide. And today, to the glory of God, he's on the 2nd term. And he wants to leave legacies for Nigeria.
Incorruptible defection, did I hear that word right? Because I recall that you actually said before a court that you were pushed out or forced out of the PDP. That
I wasn't, no, that is, you're talking about court. Are we in the court?
Well,
if you are talking about court, that was the position in court. Somebody mentioned that my seat should be taken for defection. I said no, that it was a movement. So I said I moved to join President Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR. So it was a movement. It wasn't a defection.
Okay.
So
right.
that is judicially pronounced.
I understand that. Let's come back to the issue at hand, which is the NDDC.
The issue at hand is that yesterday you gave an interview.
We will get to that. We will get to that. We will, definitely.
Okay,
you can trust me on that. We need to talk about the Niger Delta because really that is a bigger picture. It's become a sore thumb and a cause of concern for many Nigerians, whether you're in Niger Delta or not. And what we're trying to find out is exactly what are the challenges. You've just reeled out your dreams, for the Niger Delta. Why has it been so tough to realize those goals? Now you are Minister of Niger Delta. You've been there for like a year now. What exactly are the challenges that you have discovered on ground?
Well, for me, challenges of leadership of the NDDC. The governors of the 9 Niger Delta states are doing their best. The NDDC is supposed to complement the efforts of the governors. But unfortunately, sometimes they duplicate what the governors are doing in order to siphon money. And so what I will say leadership. If we had the right leadership in the NDDC, things would have moved. And then, of course, the will of the federal government to ensure proper supervision. Now, if you see the rumble that is going on now, publication, blackmail, character assassination, you should ask me, is NDDC just existing today? No, it has been there for 19 years, 20 years. So why now? Why now? Suddenly you have a probe in the National Assembly, you have a probe in the Senate, you have people writing petitions, you have publications, you have people making all sorts of allegations against the supervising minister. Why now? Why has NDDC suddenly come into the news for a bad reason in under 6 months? Everywhere is shaking earthquake. Well, you know why?
That's a question I'd like to ask you.
That is the answer I want to give to you. The answer is forensic audit. This is the first president since year 2000 that has ordered for a forensic audit of the NDDC to know what has gone wrong with the agency. Because you cannot have so much trillions going in there and nothing is seen on the ground. So as soon as the forensic audit was ordered, the world went Balaam. So it's almost like people who have eaten fat from the blood of Niger Deltans. A lot of people lost their lives for the NDDC to be established. I call it blood money. There are small places like a place in Bayelsa. There's a village called Elegbele.
Yeah.
Their bridge collapsed. Over 3 years now, they have to use canoe to get drinking waters in pails for 7 communities. 2 billion naira alone can do that bridge. But what happened? Because of corruption. Because it remained a cesspool of corruption. It remained a place for people to use it, settling political pundits and political cronies. In 19 years, nothing could be seen on the ground. NDDC in 19 years could not even buy a house and call it a permanent office, paying 300 million naira a year for the rent, as rent in where they are staying now in Port Harcourt. There was a building started under Akpabio by Chief Ege Horsfall in 1996. They could not complete it. So when I was appointed Minister of Niger Delta, I prayed to God. I said, God, give me the ability to take the bats, the insults, and all the blackmail that will come my way. But at the same time, give me the wisdom to turn around the Niger Delta region.
So you envisaged that you were going to have
of
this
course,
kind
you
of
can have, look, let me tell you,
situation
even a seed, if you plant a seed, that seed must die first before it germinates. The NDDC must go through this process before it sprouts. And you must give kudos to the president for being the first president not to send all sorts of political cronies to NDDC to be settled. It was used as a place for election matters. If you want to contest election, all they need to do is to push you into NDDC. You make the money there, and you go out to contest. But unfortunately, so many that made the money never won the elections. Because it's blood money. So what has happened is that this president said, we can't have business as usual. We want to know why things went wrong. We want to know the way forward. And so he ordered in a meeting with the governors of the 9 states who were also concerned that we should undertake forensic audit. Note something.
Yes.
There's a difference between statutory audit and forensic audit.
Yes.
Forensic audit will audit the statutory audit. Statutory audit is the one that you carry out year in, year out, either in ministry or commission. But the forensic will try to find out why things did not work,
and
whether the audit was right or wrong.
From the beginning of the setting up of the NDDC?
Beginning, it started in 2000, but actually started operations in 2001. So from 2001, at least to that period that it was ordered in 2019. And so, of course, you don't expect those who have been eating fat from the billions, even the staff who work there, you don't expect them to be happy with it. So files started missing. So many things started going wrong. And of course, the minister that is so determined to see this through has to be attacked. And the moment about 8,000 files were handed over to the lead forensic auditors, after the approval of the Federal Executive Council, hell was let loose. That is what is happening today.
What are the findings from this forensic report?
As of now, the report is not yet made public because we are still yet to go to the state offices. Just this last Wednesday, I approached the Federal Executive Council, and then we stepped down the memo for the forensic auditors who are going to the states. We are going to carry out the forensic audit. It will be completed before December 2020, no matter the allegation. And by the way, let me just point this out. The last managing director that you mentioned, Joy Nunieh,
yeah.
No matter the allegation, I wish that she will maybe go to a hospital, see a doctor, and then get maybe some injection and relax. People cannot be in offices.
Something wrong with her?
I'm not saying there's something wrong with her. I'm saying that there's something wrong with her temperament.
Okay.
Because you don't need to ask me. You can ask about 4 other husbands that she married. So I want to tell you what happened.
Let me, before we get to that, I will allow you, before we get to that, I need to bring this in. Like you rightly said, the NDDC has been around for like 20 years now. And you've just carried out this forensic report. We're going to wait for the outcome of that report. But every person who has been at the helm of affairs in this interventionist agencies, including the NDDC, Akpabio before that, and other interventionist agencies that were set up, the leaders of those agencies or the heads of those agencies actually came from within the Niger Delta itself and not from, from the outside. Why is it that the same Niger Deltans themselves have not or were not able to, meet the vision for which the NDDC and other interventionist agencies were set up?
Let me say that the NDDC needs more funds than what they presently have. It's not that they did not try their best. I believe that they tried their best in their own way. But unfortunately, probably because of paucity of funds, they could not make any impact. But when we look at what the totality of what had gone in, we believe that if they were using the right contractors, and if they had love for the region, they would have done far, far, far better. I don't see why NDDC should exist in 19 years and worry to Sapele every year when there is rain. Nobody can pass through. And then just 45 kilometers. It's a distance that we can dualize with a fantastic company, and then people will come down and say, oh, this is NDDC road. And you drive there without seeing a pothole. That's the kind of development I believe in. So I'm not saying that they did not do their best.
Factors that you have just ruled out, including the corruption that you mentioned. That
yes, those are two reasons. Number one, you need to...
And failure of leadership.
Yes, even you. If you have children, if you don't love your children, you will not give them the best.
Absolutely.
So if you bring people who do not love the region, they will, instead of moving the region forward, they will move their pockets forward. I don't care about any allegation. What I care about is the fact that things cannot be the same again. I give you an instance. In less than 8 months in office, this president has moved the managing director and the other executive directors to the permanent office in Port Harcourt. 18 stories with an adjoining building of about 5, 6. Not totally finished, but over 96% completed. Under 8 months. That is the will. That's what we are talking about, political will.
Yeah, but so, for an agency that you actually say that has paucity of funds, that does not have enough funds, how much bearing really would that have on the lives of people of the Niger Delta?
For the fact that I went into Akpabio, we didn't have all the funds, but the people experienced transformation, which was described by David McCrae, the then European ambassador, as transformation extraordinaire, which means uncommon transformation. I believe that with what we have in NDDC, we don't need to do everything. No regime can finish everything. I was just discussing with somebody before I came here, and I said, why I'm angry with what has happened in the NDDC is that if Peter, that took over from Jesus Christ in the Church of Christ, has stolen the pulpit, there will be no pope today in the Catholic Church. What has happened in the NDDC is that people go there, they attempt to steal the NDDC. And when you attempt to steal the NDDC, then it means that there will be no benefit for the people of Niger Delta. I have to explain this. It's not a personal thing. I'm not going to be there for long. But allow the accusations to come. Let us at least mention, I don't want to dwell on your last guest, but I want to just mention one reason. She was not relieved of her appointment because of corruption. She wasn't relieved of her appointment because
why was she relieved?
Because of the reasons. She was relieved of her appointment because of insubordination. My ministry that should supervise her wrote 7 letters to her. She never responded to one. And then, of course, she said she was bigger than the minister of Niger Delta.
Okay, insubordination.
So insubordination. I have the letter here.
Okay.
Then outside that, the then chief of staff, may so rest in peace, sent this to me. This was a petition from an anti-corruption agency, insisting that she did not have the requisite qualification to work as an acting managing director of a commission.
Okay, the title of this, if I could read it, if you permit me to do so, a case of non-possession of valid NYSC certificate by Joy Nunieh, acting MD of NDDC, an urgent call for redress. And
this is what she submitted as her only qualification on earth. A letter from Council of Legal Education.
Okay.
Just read what is written there, confirmation.
Yes, this is to confirm that Nunieh Joy Yimebe was a student of the Nigerian Law School during the 1989 and 1990 academic session.
Go on.
Yes, and she was mobilized for the National Youth Service Corps program for 1989-1990 service year. She has, however, informed us of the loss of her discharge certificate by a letter dated October 23, 2019.
And this is somebody who was supposed to have finished in 1990. And it is in 2019. A few days to our inauguration, that she's informing us through a letter from law school, not through a letter from NYSC. And now she went...
If I can still hold on to this.
You will. Yeah. This is her affidavit. This is her private handwriting, which she applied before the law school for a letter. Look at that.
All right. This is written in longhand.
Yes.
So
you take your time and go through it.
Yes, I will.
She alleged there that she had missed...
for letter of introduction to NYSC.
Yes, that they should give her a letter of introduction from law school to NYSC. Okay. That she had lost her NYSC certificates. And this is the affidavit.
Okay, apparently
this is the affidavit. This is the affidavit she swore to.
Okay.
She swore to an affidavit in court that she lost her NYSC certificate in 2002. If you open it, If you open the next page, you'll see that is a police extract from the police post in law school in 2019 October, and it is that extract comes from Mr. Ebenezer, who married to the sister, whom she said did not open the door for her to enter and take her certificates. But that is the same man that went to the police post to say that she had informed him that she lost her certificate.
Okay,
and
so in addition to insubordination.
No, let me come now. I want to give you another document.
Okay.
You have a letter from the Nigeria NYS itself.
I can see that you're very well prepared. You've brought all kinds of documents, for us to peruse. But
this is just read this. Please read the last paragraph.
All right.
This is from the National Youth Service Corps,
okay.
NYSC.
And
just read that last paragraph.
This is a photocopy.
Read that last
however,
paragraph.
no record exists either in NYSC Kwara State or NYSC National Directorate headquarters to evidence her participation in the scheme.
I rest my case. So I don't want to discuss her because that is not the job of a minister.
Was she removed after these findings?
She was removed after these findings. If something comes up that you were not aware of, that the person occupying a position, just like the former Minister of Finance, did not have an NYSC certificate. You know our law, either exemption or otherwise. What do you do? So I think the problem here is you have to blame my heart. I'm very soft. Maybe because I have 4 daughters, I love women.
Oh.
So what happened is that I decided that this should not be made public. So
but you seem to have been hard on her by actually sacking her. But
no, I didn't sack her.
Let's come back.
The president approved her replacement. We didn't sack her. We needed to replace her because of the fact that she needs to explain these things. So we invite her to your studio and let her bring her certificates here and show you, and then come to us and tell us, oh, this is my NYSC. You can go and get certified true copy. I don't want people coming down and then trying to throw mud at other people because of personal reasons. Because the slander and slanderous allegations and all that she was making had no basis.
But has she answered to this
No,
questions?
even that alone, we wrote to her. She has not answered it today. Okay. But I'm showing you her handwriting. Ask her whether that's not her handwriting. How can you swear to an affidavit? That is perjury. But nobody has charged her. That is to show you that nobody is shunting her. That's why I said she needs to calm down and then reassess herself. And then you also need to bring all the former husbands, at least bring 4 of them that she had married in the past, to this studio so that you ask them questions one after the other, because it looks like a character problem.
Will they have answers to her professional,
they will have answers
to her professional conduct?
They will not professional conduct. That is not the issue. What is she a professional? Let her come and tell you first. But let her tell you about her character, because what I'm seeing here is somebody comes up and then stands on television channel, wow, then the whole world. Nigerians love bad news. I'm not that type of person. I'm a minister, and my job is to protect the citizens of this country and protect the administration of Mr. President. I must tell you that even the President Buhari, was not aware of all these things because I did not want to bother the man. Because he will be shocked. Of course, he may even ask me.
Well, she did say that if she had appended her signature to a document that, she would have...
There is no such thing. The Minister of Niger Delta...
sign off. But we'll take a break. We'll take a short break, and we'll come back and discuss further.
Why you take a look at those documents
Absolutely.
of your sister, as you were able to give her a chance to talk as she talked this way?
Yes, indeed. Newsnight Nigeria continues after the break. Stay with us. Nigeria here on Arise News. I am Ngozi Alebo in the capital, Abuja. My guest tonight is 2-time governor of Akpabio State, presently Minister of Niger Delta Affairs, Senator Godswill Akpabio. Thank you so much for staying with us and giving us your side of the story. And also along with that, focus also is developments within the NDDC and of course the Niger Delta, how the ministry has fared under you in the last 1 year. We will still definitely come back to those issues. The lady in question, Joy Nunieh, the sacked acting managing director of the NDDC, came up with quite a number of allegations, weighty. Of course, you did say earlier that you wouldn't really regard those allegations as weighty, but you've been responding to some of that and you have revealed quite a number of things. Now, the issue of procedure, when it comes to contracts within the NDDC, for many Nigerians, long before you came to the scene as the Minister of the Niger Delta, Niger Delta Affairs, the general impression is that there's a lot of sleaze, a lot of opaqueness, a lot of corruption, graft within the NDDC. And latest developments seem to underscore that fact and the concerns that Nigerians have had over the years. How would you respond to some of the allegations, not only from Joy Nunieh, but the Minister, well, not Minister, the Chairman Senate Committee on Niger Delta Affairs, Peter Nwomboshi, who alleged that you had influenced some contracts to the tune of 500 million naira. Another allegation of using 11 companies to get contracts. Another allegation also that 40 billion naira was spent between the months of January and March this year, right in the heat of COVID-19. And of course, you have actually called on the Senate to look at those issues of procedures when it comes to, granting or giving out contracts. How will you respond to this?
Well, you've already given the answer, forensic. The answer is forensic. The forensic audit will throw up most of those things, the answers to all those questions. First of all, since I became a governor,
not just the forensic audit, the probe by the Senate of the IMC.
Okay, let's start from the allegation of 500 million contract. Well, you will see that there were about 5 components of it. Fencing of college, federal university, this, that, and those things were written on the letterheaded paper of the minority leader of the Nigerian Senate and dated 2017. So those cannot be said to be contracts. And it was addressed to the chairman of the committee. Every senator tries to lobby committee chairmen to pass some projects to agencies when they come for budget defense. In my own case, if actually that was from my office then, it simply means that we were lobbying them to give us those projects in their budget. Of course, they did not agree, so none was reflected in the budgets. And because of that, those things have not been done till today. So I've never had a contract in NDDC. Even when you make that suggestion, it doesn't mean that you are going to be the person to carry out the contract.
Okay.
When they go through due process, one person could win the bid. But you try to put something for your constituency. Every person does that because you want your constituents to gain from your representation in the Senate or in the House of Representatives or in the House of Assembly. So those things were not contracts.
As a senator, are you under pressure to actually go beyond the call of duty, which is to actually make laws, to want to please your constituents by actually having concrete, projects on ground that they can actually see instead of, referring to some law that you've been able to influence?
But I will tell you that every senator,
such pressure?
Every senator, every House of Rep member is under pressure. The reason is because of the endemic poverty in the system. We are not a developed society where you live next door to your neighbor and your neighbor is representing you in the Congress and you don't care because you have a job. You are busy. So Nigeria is such that because of the unemployment situation, a lot of people look up to their lawmakers. So most of them are under pressure. In some instances, they even want to go to them to give them money for startups in business and all that, even when their salaries cannot carry. So they are really under pressure. They would like to take something back. And when you have dilapidated infrastructure such as road, and in 40 years you have not been able to reach your community with your car, there is no way you go to the House of Reps or the Senate and you will not want to attract a road to your community. So most of them are actually under pressure. And for me, maybe because I was a governor and I had done so much, I did not see myself as a person representing a senatorial district. I saw myself as representing the entire Niger Delta region. For instance, when I had the opportunity, I did solar powered borehole up to Ogoni, and then gave them a solar powered light. When the people were investigating, they looked at it and they said, "Why did you go outside your community?" I gave medical equipment to AK Senatorial District, and I also made sure I gave them classroom blocks as constituency project in a place like Udumoko. I did the same thing for you. I gave them ambulance. I gave medical equipment worth hundreds of millions, and also made sure that in Ibiono, I built classroom blocks for them. Those areas are not from my senatorial district. So for me, as a former governor, I saw myself, and also a minority leader, I saw myself as representing the Niger Delta. So today, I would say that as Minister of Niger Delta, I would like to see a change. I would like to reverse the modus operandi of the Niger Delta region, of the Niger Delta, particularly through the NDDC.
And it will start with the procurement process?
That's the point.
Okay.
There's an allegation that she was making, I saw it on AIT, that he asked me in the car to go and sack the Northerner. I'm not.
Yes, and that's a very, very important question
now,
that you were asked.
That he asked me to go and sack the Northerner, not to be the director of legal services.
Yes,
that's
I'd like
Badadash.
you to respond to that.
That's Badadash. Okay, I'm not that type of person. I'm only Northern friendly. Most people even saw me as a Northerner. As governor of Akpabio said, My ADC was from the north, in Nazareth, in Bauchi. My CSO was from Kano, Suleiman, throughout. And my oddly from Kaduna. So I happened to be one person, because I was a senior prefect of Federal Government College in Port Harcourt. I happened to be the most northern-friendly governor from southern Nigeria. You go to Federal Polytechnic Gazaure, you go and see there where I built 280 bedroom hostel for them. You come to Abuja here in ISIS, Institute of Strategic Studies of the SSS, you see a fantastic luxury apartment that I built for students who go there.
Yes.
If you go to a place like Madala, when that church was bombed, I'm sorry to say this, it's something I shouldn't say. I sent my engineers from Akwa Ibom said to go and rebuild the church totally. And I deposited 50 million naira for to ensure the treatment of all the patients that needed blood and all that.
You seem to be a man of means.
No, I'm not. I did that through my state when I was a governor. And then I made sure over 5,000 Muslims went to the Holy Land in 8 years. So no other person can boast of that. And I have developed a lot of young people whom I have come across in Nigeria, from the southwest to the north to the southeast. So I'm not that person that you come and give a toga of being a tribalist. That's
so
what
this gentleman that you referred to, Kautungo,
no,
is
he's still a staff.
Is he still there?
He's still a staff of the NDDC.
Okay. What
happened was that many of them were indicted by Auditor General's reports in the past. And then, of course, the forensic auditors, in writing, requested the management to send some of them on leave. So they said, okay, for the period of this audit, they can go on leave. And there are many, there are over 23 of them in number. Even from Akwa Ibom said, you have one Ukeme, who was even director of what they call PMS, very powerful. He's also on leave. You have another one, but who was director of due process.
Okay.
He's also on leave. And so, sending those Akwa Ibom people on leave, am I a tribalist? So you come and mention only one name. Somebody who has been there for 29 years, and nobody discriminated against him. If I was somebody who was anti-Nord or anti-him, wouldn't I have used my power as a governor to say remove him? Right. I did not in 8 years. And he's still a staff. He's getting benefits. Right. Even this COVID-19 benefit that I found out in National Assembly, the COVID-19, he also received. That is even now the National Assembly due.
All right, that particular issue is another matter entirely. Unfortunately,
I know you have a lot.
Time will not permit us, but I'm sure
unfortunately, but you brought me here. You want me to talk, and I'm going to talk.
But I'd like you to actually address that, because there are claims that about this 40 billion that was spent, but we'll have to leave that.
May I tell you
Let's leave that. Let's leave
that. May
I
tell you? No, we won't leave that.
Okay.
40 billion is not missing in NDDC.
Okay.
NDDC, unfortunately, before President Buhari, had over 300 accounts in various banks and over 5 accounts abroad. But today, they have only 1 account. That is in Central Bank of Nigeria. You cannot take out 40 billion from the CBN without trace. Nigeria, the world has gone digital.
Okay.
So all the monies that I talk about are monies that they use in paying historical debts. And these things are before the National Assembly. So don't forget the sensation. They are after the minister of Niger Delta. Haven't you seen a magazine on the road? Very glossy. Written, I don't know what they call it, something power sharing.
No, I haven't seen that.
Oh, wonderful. They are selling it all over. Fantastic magazine.
Let me ask you.
Accusing me of corruption.
Let me ask you.
Have you not seen it?
How would you want to be remembered as
my daughter asked me that when she was in class 2 in secondary school. I said, how will you want to be remembered?
As a minister of the Niger Delta,
I told her that I'm like an elephant. Because if you look at it from the angle of infrastructural development, I'm second to none. I have the best international stadium in the whole of West Africa. I have the best hospital. I built 8, but one of them in Uyo is the best in the whole of West Africa. But with the best equipment.
Is it in use
scan.
Now?
It's in use. It's full now. CT scan that you see there. 64 slides in the one in Cromwell in London, but 640 there. They are not up to 7 in the world. So if you look at the aspect of religion, I used to have the best choral group in the entire world, the largest. And then the whole world watch it in 59 countries. If you look at human empowerment, I stopped house girl, house boy syndrome, and I made laws that favor children. I provided free education, free healthcare for them. And in Niger Delta, I'm going to shock you. Outside the fact that infrastructure will change with the cooperation of the National Assembly, the people will also get empowered.
I have enough time to say thank you so much.
All right, so by now, I'm pretty sure that you people have seen the video where Akpabio, the Senate President, ordered that Senator Natasha should be removed from the plenary because of misconduct. Well, dear Senate President Akpabio, this is the video of you doing that exact same thing. In my own interpretation, I will even say yours is even worse. Now, this is the video.
You can go to your seat. Then when you get to your seat, I'll recognize you.
I sat next to Senator Kwankwaso until I was led by the sergeant at arms that this is my seat.
I asked the clerk whether he allocated that seat to you. He said he didn't.
He told me he would prefer to sit here. So I said there is no microphone there, but he said he would still prefer to sit there.
If there's been a senator that have allowed to speak without a microphone, state. That's never happened in this chamber. All we said is there's no microphone where you are. Go to a place where there's one and you can speak. Now you have the floor. Speak and let us make progress.
I want to apologize to my colleagues if I raised my voice earlier, and to say that until the Senate is well reconstituted and the sitting arrangements well arranged, I want to hold my...
Well, in my own interpretation, what Godswill Akpabio did here is kind of worse than what Natasha Akpoti did on that very day. But again, shout out to Bukola Saraki, the then Senate President, for the way he handled this whole situation. A special shout out to him. And again, most people call a spade a spade. Natasha Akpoti actually did a serious misconduct. Even when they told her to leave, you understand? Just like, oh, I'm not scared of you and all that. I mean, she's not supposed to do that, but Godswill Akpabio was also supposed to look for the best way to manage the whole thing, because misconduct is not misconduct. The fact say Bukola Saraki, no other say this man go leave, no me say this other person no go other ram. And I feel like the last thing that happened between Bukola Saraki and Senator Akpoti, I feel as if two of them, they never really forgive themselves. That's just what I think. I feel like they've not forgiven themselves. And again, Godswill Akpabio should understand that Natasha is a woman. Natasha is a woman, not just a woman. Natasha is a very stubborn woman. Judging by everything I've seen, judging by the whole thing, she stood up against Yaya Bello when Yaya Bello was at his prime. When Yaya Bello still they shake everybody, Natasha Akpoti stand. As a matter of fact, rumor they say, man, when she dey go Kogi State that time, say they even give her own army where go protect her against the government army. So the woman is strong, she's stubborn. So you get the way they follow those kind of people, right? She know they won't agree. Like people like her, they know they like when you use high voice for her. So you go, Senate President, I know it's not supposed to be, but she's a woman. You understand? But Natasha Akpoti too, please, you have to respect our Senate President. You understand? A lot of people don't like him, but power don't enter in hand, power don't enter in hand be that. So respect comes with that position that he is. Senate President, like now, if anything happens to the President, anything happens to Vice President, which other person again? I think Senate President is the fourth, or even the third, I can't even remember. I think it's like the fourth person. So a position strong for the whole of Nigeria. His position is very strong. And if you don't respect him, other people from outside country would not respect him. If somebody in the house, a member of the house, would not respect Senate President Godswill Akpabio, then people where they look us from outside country too, they not go respect Senate President Godswill Akpabio. But again, respect is reciprocal. So the way where Senate President they talk to Natasha, it's supposed to balance her. But again, ultimately, for the benefit of Nigeria, that's what I'm talking. For the benefit of Nigeria, you people need to get along. Because if the room is not conducive for everybody, if people don't agree, then we as a country, we cannot move forward. Because now that place, when I tell the judge waiting, they make the country go forward. Even though the country know they really go forward. Because I know you really see what they do for there, low key. I don't know what you guys are doing there, to be very honest. I don't know. Do you understand? But still, we could get along so that at least one tangible thing will come out from that floor or from the house. Even though, like I said, in my own opinion, I don't see what you guys are doing there. But anyway, Senate President, much love and respect. Natasha, way much love and respect. God bless you guys. But I beg, Mona plan for Nigeria. Else, you're going to learn. And you will learn the hard way. Mona drop on a personal beef. At the end,
If your security is given to you as a leverage to your being a senator, then there will be no need for them to hang around with you when you are no longer a senator. In other words, if you are no longer a president of the Senate, you cannot continue to sit in the car of the president of the Senate. I was with you in the villa the day you declared support for me, and I saw you off as a sign of respect as the outgoing Senate president. When we got to the vehicle, you just pointed out and said, "This will be withdrawn from me tomorrow. I will come to your house." After you win. so if you are telling me that, assuming I had failed that day, would that vehicle come to my house?
Well, Mr. Senate President, I don't want it to be like I'm trying to make a case, but I believe that this is a suspended senator, not someone who ceases to be a senator. It's suspension.
But without arguing with you,
that's my case. Yes.
Without arguing with you, let me remind you, you are a landlord in the Senate or in the National Assembly. Do you remember a senator that was called Oton Zeribe? A distinguished senator who was one of the richest people in southeastern Nigeria. And when he entered into the Senate, he carried along on his shoulders his wealth. May his soul rest in peace. When he was suspended, the Senate took steps to withdraw all his security. And when he refused to apologize to the Senate, he stayed out of the Senate for over 2.5 years until the end of that tenure. We are starting a journey now. And the journey
to just speak because I'm not Senator Natasha's representative, but I'm going to speak as a woman that works or has ever worked in a male-dominated space. And I think one thing that the senator said that we must all, or every woman that has listened to that interview, felt to be true deep down in her bones, is that it's just like a case of a university lecturer failing you simply because you refuse to sleep with him. When women talk about cases of sexual harassment, they always say, keep quiet, don't speak about it. No, it's because of what you're wearing. It's because of you invited it. There's an invitation to treat. Simply by existing, we make women feel like they're inviting people to come and sexually harass them. And this is the culture in which Nigerian women have always existed. Have people found ways to exist in spite of this culture? Yes. But are we saying that it is all right, it is right? Absolutely not. So when people are speaking up against it, at whatever time we decide to speak up against it, I think it's only important, it's only fair that we listen to them.
Yeah, but then,
so let me speak about the
sit.
Let me speak about the sit. I'm so sorry. Okay. Let me speak about the sit. Rosa Parks, the person that we celebrate today in America, looked at the history of, subjugation of black people, and she refused to get up from her sit. I'm not trying to equate Natasha with Rosa Parks, but was saying that because she graciously came to give an interview here, and to give you context as to why she felt the way that she was being subjugated, because there was a history between her and the Senate president. And she alleges that the Senate president said, if you take care of me, you would have a smooth ride. She alleges that if you take care of me, you would have a smooth ride. Yes, she alleges, but it's not only her voice that we've heard about an allegation, about the Senate president sexually harassing a woman.
That doesn't still mean that she was right.
Miss Joy Nunieh, 2020 NDDC, in 2020, also accused the Senate president of, sexually harassing her. So you look at, and she said she even slapped him. So you look at all of these instances, and you wonder how he became a Senate president.
Quick reminder to anybody that cares to know. I want you to know that Yahaya Bello is still moving freely, despite enough evidence of embezzlement and corrupt practices. Is still moving freely without a sentence. I equally want to bring to your notice that the former MD of the NDDC has alleged Akpabio to be involved in a lot of corruptions and shady deals, and he's the Senate President of Nigeria today. I equally want to remind you of the fact that the person that came out at a point in time to say he doesn't believe in one Nigeria is now the president of one Nigeria. I equally want to remind you that the list of the sponsors of terrorism was made available to the past administration, and they are sitting on it, and the present administration is not doing anything about that. I equally want to remind you as well that the former Minister of Humanitarian Affairs was alleged to be involved in corruption and shady deals, which resulted to her sacking. So I want to tell you that she was only sacked, but not indicted. I also want to remind you that the Boko Haram members have been pardoned by the federal government. But Nnamdi Kanu has been facing terrorism charge for years now, and he's yet to be sentenced, and he's yet to be pardoned as well. I want to remind you as well that farmers in remote villages are still paying tax for them to be able to go to farm. Farmers in the villages are still paying levies to bandits for them to be able to go to farm. I want to remind you as well that according to Amechi, that the problem between Fubara and Wike that gave birth to the state of emergency was nothing but a disagreement over sharing formula of state resources. I want to remind you as well that the people trying to form a new coalition, a new alliance, are nobody but former members of PDP and the APC. I want to remind you as well that El Rufai was one of the major advocates of the Muslim ticket that gave birth to Tinubu. The same El Rufai now is the major advocate of a coalition that will get rid of Tinubu. I want to remind you as well that some of the cleric scholars, the imams, are still preaching the message of fanaticism and hatred. And I also want to remind you that some of the pastors are still preaching the message of fraud, scam, and delusive prosperity. I also want to remind you that the bill to ban open grazing that is associated with a lot of atrocities and a lot of illegalities is still experiencing a setback in the Senate House. I also want to remind you that it's only the Senate President of Nigeria that can send prayers into people's accounts in order for them to enjoy their weekends. I want to remind you as well that some of the general overseers have built schools and universities out of common people money, out of their tithe and their offering that their children cannot attend. I want to remind you too as well that a good number of Northerners believes that the Sharia is superior to the Constitution. I want to equally remind you that a lot of celebrities that the common man, we, have made millionaires and billionaires are yet to lend their voice in regards to the atrocities and the bad happenings that is happening in the country at the moment. I want to bring to your notice as well that the soldiers and the security agencies are still complaining of being shortchanged by the system. And nothing is yet to be done about that. I equally want to remind you that slots are still being given to politicians and political office holders in regards recruitment and a lot of other things. I equally want to remind you as well that you have a voice in the midst of all this, only if you believe. I want to remind you as well in the words of Mahatma Gandhi that said, gently you can shake the wall. But I equally want to remind you that we Nigerians are very good at forgetting things and pursuing mirage. And I also want to bring to your notice as well that a lot will not share this, will not make this go around, and will still keep pursuing the.
Alright guys, thank you very much for staying to the end of this video. Please kindly subscribe, share this video. Thank you, and don't forget to like.